God bless you, woman of God. Welcome back to our channel. Today we have a visitor, my youngest daughter, Karen. Karen, say hi.
Hi.
Today we will be talking about a different theme or different subject. Normally, most of the videos that we have uploaded so far have been regarding our spiritual lives. I felt the thought in my heart to share with you how to prepare in the event of a crisis, how to prepare in the event of something big happening. As Christians, the Bible has many verses where He encourages to be prepared. We live in the state of Florida. Florida is a state where there's a lot of hurricanes. There are other states that go through tornadoes. There are other states that go through earthquakes. Our state is prone to hurricanes. Therefore, we should be prepared in the event of a natural disaster or in the event of something happening. With the events that are happening right now around the world with the pandemic, there has been a shortage of food and supplies in many places around our country. And that has inspired me to share with you what we have been doing in our home. As in other videos, I always let you know our disclaimer. I'm not extensively trained in doing this. This is just the way our family has been preparing. I will not go in depth in some of the things that I'm going to show you today. If you are interested in me going in depth in those, I would ask you to leave a comment below and we will be doing further videos if that's something that interests you guys. First, I will be sharing with you how we are storing food in a long-term solution, or in the event of a power outage, or in the event we are unable to access food on the stores immediately. For many years, the Lord has been speaking to my life and to many other believers around the world that we need to prepare, that we need to save, that we need to store food, and that we need to get ready. Just as the parable of the 10 virgins in the Bible, where He asked them to wait and be prepared, 5 of them saved a little extra and 5 of them didn't. We ought to be saving a little extra right now, for in the event something happens and we are unable to reach our resources in a timely manner. Most of the people that know, most of the people that are experienced are suggesting that we keep a food supply from 3 to 6 months or more if you are able to do that. In the past, I was storing all my resources in buckets. Can I get me the bucket, please? I was getting all my supplies stored individually in buckets because the buckets avoid critters and animals and things to go in them. I was storing them in buckets like this. This bucket came from Walmart. I have a friend that works in Walmart and they no longer do it, but they used to bring the icing for the cakes in buckets like this. So it's food grade, and I would use them to store my food. I no longer use it for storing everything separately. I use these buckets to store rice. I use these buckets to store flour, and I use these buckets to store pasta and grains. Thank you. A few months ago, one of the ladies from our church told me the way she was storing it. A few months ago, one of our ladies from our church shared with me how she began storing food. Our sister Carla, I want to send a shout out to her right now. And I really liked the thought behind her reasoning. So I decided to implement the way she is storing it, adding my own techniques, which I will be sharing with you. She is using one of this, I don't know how many gallons is this one. This is a 27-gallon bucket. You can find these in Home Depot and any other store, maybe Walmart, with lid. And we are preparing a month worth of food per each bucket. Thank you, Karen. I would suggest every family puts in the bucket the food that they eat, the food that it's to their liking, and the things that they may be needing. I'm going to share with you what our family is storing. We have to take into consideration in a moment of lack, in a moment of shortage, in a moment of need, we won't be eating the same amounts of food, obviously, because of the shortage. And we will probably not be eating a lot of food that is 100% nutritious, but they will sustain us to get through the time of need. Some of the things that we are storing in this bucket are, we have a variety instant oatmeal with the regular oats. What you can do is you can mix one of the flavors, one flavor package, with one of the non-flavored and give it a little taste. We are storing some cereal. We know that the cereal lasts for maybe about 6 months to a year on the cereal. We are storing the very famous TP that is so hard to get right now in each bucket. That way we have for that particular month. We are also storing mac and cheese for the children.
My favorite.
Yeah. We're storing mac and cheese for the children. I'm storing spaghettis. We can make spaghettis mixed with shredded chicken breast, and we can also mix them with Spam. You can mix them with tuna or fish if that's your liking. We normally mix them with the chicken. We store sugar in a mason jar because sugar cannot be saved in Mylar bags, or it could be saved in Mylar bags, but it cannot have a oxygen absorber because it'll end up being like a rock. We also save some seasoning. As you guys know, we are Puerto Ricans, so we like our Puerto Rican seasoning in our food. We also storing a jar of sofrito. I normally make my own, but in case I cannot make my own, we have something. We have salt, and I have salt in a plastic container because it preserves better than being on our normal carton container. We're saving some ketchup because if something doesn't taste too good, we can put a little bit of ketchup and make it taste better. We have some cans of tuna. We have some cans of pink salmon, tuna in packets. This is pasta sauce. We have it in the can because again, it lasts a little longer. Also some tomato paste, beef stew in packets. This lasts a long time. Again, sazon to make it taste a little bit better. We cannot go without coffee in our household. We have some coffee creamer, and I put the date that I packed it. But because it's in a Mylar bag, and I'm going to talk to you about the Mylar bags in a little bit, it should last a long time. These can last 10 to 15 years because they are sealed in oxygen-free bags. This is some flour. We have more salt in this Mylar bag, and more creamer, and more flour. We also have some dried pinto beans. We have canned as well, but these go a long way. We have mixed to do lentil soup. We have a lot of canned vegetables. In our household, we eat a lot of rice. It is the main food that Puerto Ricans eat is rice. So we've learned to make rice in a wide variety of forms. We make plain white rice. We make rice mixed with Vienna sausages. We make rice mixed with Spam. We make rice mixed with vegetables. That way it's not the same boring white rice all the time. We could mix it up. One day one thing, one day the other. So there's a lot of cans of vegetables because in the event we run out of meat, we have some vegetables to give it a little flavor to our rice. We also have some Boyardee, ravioli, spaghettios, chili bean, different stuff that the kids can eat for lunch. We have a chicken bouillon. We can make some soup with this. We can add it to anything. And beef and ground pork in cans, and evaporated milk in cans because they last a very long time. Again, this should be for approximately a month's supply of food. Aside of this, we are saving some snacks for the kiddos, but those don't last a very long time. They cannot be preserved for a long time. That's why I don't have them added inside our bucket. Aside from that, with the pandemic that we are going through, our world most likely and very probably will never be the same. So also including in our buckets, a container of hand sanitizer, a pack of wipes, and a microban, which is a bacteria killer for about 24 hours. And I'm including this in my kit as well as the toilet paper because again, in the event we are not able to reach our normal resources, at least we can have a clean environment and we can be comfortable for whatever period of time we are in. Aside from that, I want to share with you how we store our rice. Like I said, we have the square bins that came from Walmart and these round bins that came from Ace. These you can find them at Lowe's, you can find them at Home Depot, and you can find them at Ace. And we store our rice in these bins. They are hard to open. I like these because I don't know the ones in the other stores, but I know these in Ace have the seal, which makes it very tight and keeps the food fresh. And we store them in the Mylar bags, sealed and airtight. There is an oxygen absorber inside of it. Each of these buckets hold 40 pounds of rice. Aside of that, I want to share with you real quick how we store meat. I know that in the event we run out of power, this probably will not be a good resource, but in the event we need to be confined for a long time, or in the event that we are running food shortages in our food supply, we can save our meats like this. We have a tall freezer. I know and I recognize not a lot of people have the opportunity to have a tall freezer, but in case you do have, or even if you don't, this will help you. I store most of our food in Ziploc bags. I divide each day. I do a lot of food prepping because I'm a very busy woman running 2 YouTube channels, a church, and 4 children, a husband, mother-in-law. I have a lot in my hand. So I do a lot of food prepping. When I purchase the food in the store, I cut it, I divide it, I prep it. Like for example, chili beans, it's already prepped. Chipotle chicken, already prepped. So let me share with you real quick. Even if you don't have a lot of space in your kitchen, let's say you don't have the space that I do have, but you have one portion like this, just one section in your freezer, you can store food for about 40 days if you separate it into portions. Again, we are a very large family, so you might be able to even store more food than what I'm storing, depending on the portion that your family eat. We don't eat a whole lot either. We try to portion what we eat, but it helps to store your meat. So approximately we have about 40 to 45 days of meat stored just in this one shelf, because again, I prep it, I divide it, I separate it into Ziploc bags as soon as I purchase it. Aside from that, I have bins separating other types of meats, and you can't really see, but there's more underneath. We have them separated by types. We have fish in these 2 sections, and other stuff in the bottom. All right, so I want to share with you real quick how we prepare our buckets with Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. This was another idea. Obviously, there's a whole lot of videos in YouTube on how to do this, but we have another lady in our church that also shared with us, Sister Stephanie, how to seal with Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers so that the rice can be preserved. There is a technique that they use in Puerto Rico. As you know, Puerto Rico is a country that they have a lot of hurricanes. And they use these big 5-gallon Mylar bags. They put them in the buckets, and eventually we're gonna need to cut a little bit of it possibly so that they can fit better. What I normally do is I try to measure the size of the bucket so that I can fold a little bit of it and make it more manageable in order for me to pour my rice in it.
For this, we're using olive oil. Sorry, rice.
For this, we need a 5-gallon bucket, a 5-gallon Mylar bag. We need an oxygen absorber, scissors, olive oil, and short grain rice.
And a straightener so we can seal it. Here, straightener.
My thrifty helper here. In order to make sure that our food is preserved and that there's no contaminants, I put on some gloves. I'm gonna go to the floor, that way we can manage it better. We're gonna put 2 teaspoons of olive oil in the bottom. And the reason why we put the olive oil is in order so that we can cook it. Whenever we go to cook, the rice already has the oil with it. And it can be preserved, like I said, for about 15 to 20 years easily. We're gonna start pouring the rice, and every 3 pounds to 6 pounds of rice, I'm gonna drop 2 teaspoons of oil. We're gonna drop 2 scoops of oil, and we are gonna move it. We will put 3 more pounds of rice. And we put 2 more scoops of oil. Then we move it so that all the rice can get some oil. When you have reached the halfway point in the bag, we're gonna put 5 laurel leaves to avoid it getting any critters. Then we will come to the top, we put another 5 laurel leaves, and we get ready to seal it. The oxygen absorbers, once you open them, they need to be resealed, otherwise they will no longer work. So when we open them, we put them in mason jars. Mason jars are really good to store stuff. I have tons of these. They are good to even be in the freezer, as long as you don't fill them over this line right here. Anything that you put in this container can expand up to the top and it won't break. So I have tons of these. They are good for a lot of stuff. We are going to seal half of the bag all the way up to here. And the zipper is tightly closed. Then we're gonna prep the bag for fully sealing it and putting the oxygen absorber. We put it very last, otherwise it'll start absorbing the oxygen when we're not ready for it yet. We put away the air. And then we finish sealing the bag. You wanna try it? It needs to be above the line. Go ahead, mommy. It needs to be above this line. There you go. Nice work. We seal above the zipper. That way, whenever we need to use it again, we can reseal it with the zipper. Chemicals we're gonna put in a bag so that they don't spill inside the box. And we're fixing the box with all the items. For every bucket of food that's all prepared and packed, we have a bucket of rice. And then in each bucket we write down the number on the top, and we know how many months of food we have stored. Last but not least, I want to talk to you about 2 very important items in our preppers list, and it is to have a bug out bag and an emergency kit. In our particular circumstances, like I said, we live in Florida. It's a hurricane-prone state, and we never know when we may need to run out of the house. I'm not gonna go in depth into what's inside our bug out bags. If that is something that is of interest to you, I can do a video later on in the future about it. Each member of our family has one. I have one, my husband has one, and all 4 of my kids have one, and we have prepared one for our mother-in-law. As you guys may have remembered from our first video, our get to know us video, we do take care of my mother-in-law. So all 7 members of my family have a bug out bag. And we have an emergency kit that we have put together just in case we do have to abandon our home, which, needless to say, we will need to have all of our personal documents and important things with us. So if this is something that interests you, that we bring a video in regards to this, leave a comment below and we will be working on it. I hope this video has been a blessing to your life and that it has inspired you to get prepared in the event of a crisis or a natural disaster, that you and your family can be prepared. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and we see you on the next one. Bye bye.